What is up, everybody? I'm Courtney. Uh-oh, he's not here. He is running a couple minutes behind, and that is okay. We have some special guests. Well, a special guest joining us tonight. Elk Valley Paranormal, the founder. And once my lovely invisible co-host joins me, this is my ghost host. Okay. Once he joins me, I'm going to pull Miss Sin Schrader Hill into the podcast, and we are going to get the party started. We've got a lot in store for you tonight, a lot of information. Let me know in the comments, what has everybody been up to? Ronnie Anderson, Bedford Paranormal, shout out. What's going on? Has anybody been on any investigations recently? I want to hear all about it in the comments. I have been down and out. For those that know, I had surgery, so I'm like itching to get back out there and do an investigation. I made a status on Facebook today, and I was like, I'm accepting friend applications who want to hang out in cemeteries. So, of course, Sean said, let's do it this weekend. So I'm like, let's go. But my ghost host is no longer a ghost.
Who's in here? My man Ronnie. I can always count on Ronnie to be in here. That's my dude. Shout out Bedford Paranormal.
That's right. So without further ado, Miss Hill with Elk Valley Paranormal. Hello, gorgeous. How are you?
Hey, gorgeous. I needed to hear that tonight. I just got done teaching a class. I've got sweat dripping. I was rushing to get in here, and I'm sorry, this is the best you can get tonight. I'm sorry.
That is okay. Teaching a class. What are you doing?
And we just finished Pound Rockout Workout.
Oh my God, I heard about that. I heard it's intense.
Yeah, it's my favorite class to take and teach in 35 years.
I love it. Well, you're doing better than me because you're actually in the gym. So that's one step up on me. But there was a big bout where I was in the gym constantly, and then I just gave up on it. But I'm going back. I didn't get rid of my gym membership for a reason. Ronnie said we have Old Scott County Jail and historical town of Rugby in Tennessee coming up in July.
Sweet.
That's a whole lot. Awesome. Haunted photographer Tyler Darnell. Darling, hello. Talented.
That's my other dude. What's up,
Tyler? Talented.
Very talented. Nice guy, too.
Very nice.
I like Tyler.
Very nice.
I like to hang out with him again one day.
So, Elk Valley Paranormal, tell us about EVP.
Yeah. I started with another group in 2013 because I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and I wanted to learn. All I knew was what I'd seen on television. So I trained with Ghost Hunters of Southern Tennessee out of McMinnville. And a little bit less than a year later, I formed Elk Valley Paranormal. So I got really interested in finding the voices and using the spirit box and all that good stuff. I love talking to them. So EVP, Elk Valley Paranormal, it was perfect for me.
Well, this is crazy because this is 2 weeks in a row that we have had an EVP. Last week we had Elite Vixen Paranormal, who also uses EVP. I think that's cool. It took me a second to catch on to that. I caught on to Elk Valley Paranormal, though, because when I was typing it out, I was like, EVP. So that's awesome. So where are you guys located exactly?
We are southern Middle Tennessee. We're 30 miles north of Huntsville, Alabama, and about 80 miles south of Nashville.
Nice. And recently I just discovered that there is a ton of paranormal stuff to do in Tennessee. Sean is a Nashville recording artist.
What was?
No, still are. You don't get rid of that.
Yeah.
But
I didn't know.
He's taking a break right now from music. But that's all I affiliated with Tennessee was Nashville. Right. There's nothing else other than Nashville. When you're in country music, that's where you are. That's what you do.
That's all we did in Nashville was play music.
You didn't think of anything else. So we had the pleasure of interviewing a team from Nashville, Tennessee, And I was like, wait a minute, hold on. There's paranormal stuff in Nashville. There's paranormal stuff in Tennessee. I need to get into this. So, D Downs, hi. For those that don't know, that's Mama D, aka this guy's mom.
Mom, I love you.
So, awesome. So, do you guys travel, or do you just stay in Tennessee, or?
We do a little bit of Alabama, a little bit of, we've actually gone into Georgia to do a residential. Most of what we do, though, is just around here. And since 2020, what I've done most is teach people how to sage their own places,
Okay.
businesses, homes, and all that kind of stuff. And it seems like, back in 2020, all that negativity built up and it needed somewhere to go.
Yes,
So
Lord.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's really a good thing for people to know how to do. So we taught a lot of that, and just started really getting back into going places. I've actually been going places with two other groups, and I did that because um, I was training my nephew to be videographer a couple of years ago, and we lost him, and
Oh,
he was my mini me. So he was only 19 and a half, and I just had to step away from it for a little
that's
while.
right.
And I was writing actually the fourth book, and most of what I write is ghost stories about the investigations that we do. I do, my friends do, teams, my friends' teams, just different things, and then some strange stories around the areas. And I got told, you need to write a book about signs from our loved ones. And I was like, I don't have enough to go in a book.
Right.
So I kind of started it, but I didn't know where that was going to go. So I put a feeler out on Facebook and said, I'm looking for stories, near death experiences, deathbed conversations, where somebody in your family is talking to somebody in the room that you can't see. And signs like redbirds, pennies, feathers, songs that come on from out of nowhere, pictures that pop up, just all that kind of stuff. Scents that you can smell, their cologne, their perfume, flowers, whatever. But I put that out and I got like, boom, people writing in from all over the country and saying, I've got a story. I've got a story. And I even had a girl from England send a story about her grandfather and his cat that both of them came back and visited her. So this
Wow.
is a really interesting thing. And then when Wyatt died, it was just like, oh, okay, now I see. I was supposed to write this book. It's his book. That's why I've got to put
That's
his
right.
story. And so his story is in there. My dad actually, when we went to the morgue that day, um, my dad was a coin collector, and we lost him in right after 9/11. Nothing to do with the Twin Towers, but we lost him that month. And he actually showed up the day Wyatt died and left a penny in my threshold of my truck. I have to look down to get in and out of my truck all the time, and there was nothing there. Nothing there the night before when I taught class, nothing there when I got in to go to the hospital, nothing. And then when I came back out of the hospital, my husband was with me, and I said, "Go with me, get mom something to eat." And he crawled over to he went around to the passenger side and got in. And when I opened the driver's door, there was this new shiny penny right there. And I picked it. I wish I'd taken a picture, but I picked it up and went, "Pennies from heaven." And he said, "What did you just say?" I said, "Pennies from heaven." And I showed it to him and he goes, "Well, there you go." And then I was thinking, well, it was too soon for Wyatt being in an accident, not really knowing what the heck's going on. It's got to be dad. That's got to be dad. I didn't say anything to mom, but I was talking to her the next day. And I said, I will never understand why this has happened, but I just want to get a sign from them or something. And I said, Mom, I've gotten a sign, not from him, but from Daddy. And she said, what do you mean? And I said, he left me a penny at the hospital in my truck, in the truck threshold. And she went, I found a penny today. I said, where was it? And she said, it was right at the base of the steps. It wasn't there. It wasn't there last night. It wasn't there this morning. And I said, okay, that is Daddy. That's Daddy. So he showed up at the hospital to let me know I'm here with him. And then he showed up at Mom's to say, I got him.
That is awesome.
That's crazy.
I wholeheartedly believe, and I've got a question for you about your book, but I wholeheartedly believe that your loved ones do come back and communicate. Absolutely.
Before we go any further, we have got to shout out everybody.
I know we've got so many awesome people.
So many awesome people in here. but we do want to come back because I know you got some great stuff to say, and I got some questions because like everything from these stories were great. So first, Carrie Whitby, Chuck Whitby, those are two of our team members of our own Hill City Paranormal in the house. Ryan Jones, totally awesome paranormal show, and Carrie,
I think it's freaking awesome.
Totally freaking awesome. Look, I mess it up. But he has an awesome podcast. I love his podcast. I tune into it whenever we get off ours.
Either way, it's freaking awesome.
It's freaking awesome. To all you freaks out there.
That's right.
We're freaks too. So. Yeah. But Ryan Jones, caretaker of the cabin on the 360, if you're an investigator and haven't been there, you're losing out. You're missing out. Hell of a location.
And I believe Sin's been on his show.
Yes. He even shouted you out in the comments. We also got John Sullivan, hell of a guy. I got to hang out with him one time, and I'm dying to hang out with him again.
Fredericksburg Paranormal.
Fredericksburg FPRI, Fredericksburg Paranormal.
Yep. We've got Rhonda in here from FPRI too.
Rhonda Harris. Some of the best evidence I caught was with that lady. She's awesome as well. Am I missing anybody?
Nope, you got it all. Tom McNicholas said, "Get your freaky on."
If I missed you, I'm sorry, but like we had some awesome people pop in here, and you were talking, and I was so glued to your story, I couldn't interrupt it. I wasn't going to.
And Shonda with FPRI. What's up, Shonda?
In here. So I had to get these shout outs in because like all these awesome people popped in here, and I was like, So. Thank y'all for stopping in, and back to your story. Oh, you had a question.
Well, yeah, no, what I was saying is I totally believe that loved ones come in many different forms. Yes. We personally have recently had a death in the family, and it was actually his family, and I got some signs here. Maybe it's because we live in the same household, but definitely let us know that he was here.
Personal visit to let me know he was okay.
Yeah. And you also lost your best friends. And
it's weird. It's a very weird situation.
I have different experiences than you do. Yeah. It seems like your loved ones that have passed away visit you in your dreams.
It's like right after I fall asleep, like right when I hit I forgot what to call it now. If you put me on the spot. Right before I go into
REM sleep.
Yeah, right before I go into a deep sleep. It's like they pop right in my dream.
Almost like letting, and he's discussed this with me, almost like letting him know, like, hey, I'm okay. Yeah. Both these deaths that you've had dreams about were sudden, unexpected. And it was like an overwhelming sense of peace is how you described it to me.
Yeah, one of them was weird. It was one of my buddies. I was talking to him literally probably, I wouldn't even say hours, maybe minutes before he died.
Yeah, he got off the phone.
And it was a regret that I had because I was like, hey, bro, I'll call you back. He called me and I was talking to him for a second. I was like, hey, man, let me call you back. And I fell asleep. That's what happened. And then I got a phone call like hours the next morning on my way to work. Like, hey, your buddy died. And I'm like, no, I just talked to him. Ain't no way in hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that night I had a dream and he came to talk to me. And it was weird because this is when vaping was real popular. I still vape to try to cut back on chewing tobacco. And you see how well that works. But but it was like he was vaping beside me in my dream. And I could smell the smoke, the not the smoke, but the vape. And it was so real. It was weird. I just have a weird thing that happens to me whenever somebody dies. It's around me.
that's the time that they can visit us the easiest when we're asleep, because that's when we've got our defenses down the most,
That's true.
and they can come into our dreams, and that's why when they do visit, they're usually more vivid, and you remember those dreams to the minute detail.
I remember what he was wearing and everything. It was crazy. Yeah.
Yep.
See, and mine, I wish I saw your post when you were writing your or writing your book, because uh when my mom was dying, she was ill, and I flew out to California and I stayed with her for a whole week. And I had to go down there, wrap up loose ends. They gave her days to live. She was always a fighter, and she ended up living 20 more days after I left. But she was talking crazy on her deathbed, like real crazy. So that was she made a formal complaint against me for being the worst nurse ever to take care of her. She told me she had no children, never wanted children. She's got two, me and my late brother. And then she kept talking about she wanted me to take her out to the pier. She kept saying, my ship is here. I need to board my ship. And she kept
Oh,
saying that over and over and over again. And I kept saying, Mom, there's no pier. We're not near the ocean right now. And she said, no, my ship is here. And then she flipped it. And when I came back one day, I said to her, I said, hey, Mom, I'm here. I said, what do you got planned for today? And she said, I just got back from the most phenomenal card game upstairs. And I said, well, tell me about the card game. And she said, we were playing poker and I won every hand. There was no upstairs to the hospice center.
yeah.
And there was no card game. She wasn't, there. So stories I can look back on and smile at now. But my mom was, on my last day there, I wheeled her out to the garden and she started panicking. I mean, freaking out, saying that the government was after her and this, that, and the third. And I kept saying, what's going on? She said, they're flying around. They're put, I'm laughing now because, again, looking back on it, it's comical, but she said that they put little microchips inside the dragonflies that were flying around and they were following her. So I actually got a dragonfly memorial tattoo for my mom because and now still to this day, we will be in random places and I have had a dragonfly land on me and not move. We found 4 or 5 dragonflies in our pool the other day, and we've never seen dragonflies on that property ever.
Never.
So, I still to this day, and now my mom passed away in 2010, and I still to this day believe that she visits me. And so, and I've been in situations like, where I've almost accidentally gotten into a car wreck, wasn't paying attention, didn't see the car slam in front of me. And I almost felt like a hand on my shoulder, like squeezing my shoulder. And then I remember saying, please move, please move, please move. Cause I knew I was going to hit if they didn't move. And right at the last second, they took off and I never hit. And I knew it was my mom. I just knew. And, it's loved ones come in different forms, whether it's dragonflies, whether it's in your dreams. But I've got to go back here because Dee Downs put up a comment that said that she was really interested in hearing about the cat that came back with the grandfather.
Well, before you go there, I want to touch back on, you said about the loved ones visiting you in your dreams, because that's one I'm kind of stumped on. Like even this past one with my family member that died, I didn't sleep well, and we weren't extremely close, but we were at the same time. I can't explain it, and I didn't sleep for a week. I kid you not, maybe 30 minutes to an hour, and I couldn't fall asleep because it was like a heavy presence in my house. Finally, I did go to sleep. That's when I saw him, and he visited me and talked to me. And then after that, I slept fine like a baby the rest of the week. It was the weirdest. I've dealt with death before, and I don't have a problem dealing with death. but that was the weirdest situation I've had to deal with. And I'm wondering what your input is on that. Like, this is a topic that hasn't come up in any of our podcasts.
None.
And maybe you could enlighten everyone on what your opinion would be on that.
Well, I'm still learning about it too, because this book honestly was just put in my lap because I didn't have enough for the book. Interesting enough, I am writing the sequel right now. So if you've got those, if you want to put these stories in, I'll put them in. I'd be glad to.
We'll chat after the podcast.
Yeah, yeah. And any of your listeners, if they've got any kind of signs, any kind of a dream where their loved one came back, or a friend came back, or dragonflies, or butterflies, or you walk into a room and you hear that person say your name. They show up as an apparition. I mean, there's so many different ways that they can reach out to us. But the easiest way is through your dream, because you're completely relaxed at that point. All your defenses are down, and they can manipulate the energy to get in there and just say, "Hey, miss you. Don't worry about me," or whatever. Some of them come back in and say, "You hadn't lost me. I'm going to come back." you know and some of them, I had one of them that said, "This is the only time you're going to see me, but I wanted you to know I'm okay," and get on
Wow.
with her. Yeah, I mean, very powerful.
That's
So
that's deep.
yeah.
Hey, Howie. Howie says he's tipping his hat, bowing, and then putting his top hat back on. Very classy, very classy.
Shout out ASPS.
Yep. Now, I have not forgot about you because I do want to hear about the cat. But since we're on the dream topic, Ronnie says, "I just started seeing my dad in my dreams, but he never speaks."
That's a good one, Ronnie, to put out there. I love this topic because this is something that never gets brought up.
I'm me being somebody who's lost everybody except one of my family members. This is interesting to me because I've had, family members I was extremely close with that I've never, but I also want to say that I was not as in tune with the paranormal until recently. Like, I've been investigating for 15 years, something like that. But I really just recently started getting really in tune with communicating. At first I was a lot like you. I only knew what I saw on TV. So I would go in, if there's anybody here, can you give me a sign? Knock on the wall. Okay, nobody's here, gotta go, type deal. And then they made all this cool gadgets and gizmos and things like that you could bring in to help you with your communication. And once I learned how to utilize each piece of equipment, it's like, wow, I can really talk to these people. These people really have messages that they want to give to us. So that's when I started noticing signs like the dragonflies in the pool. We've owned that property for almost 9 years. Sin, I have never seen a dragonfly on that property, not even one time. And
that's going to be your big sign from your mom.
I'm like, that's crazy. And like I said, I've got, you can't see it now, but way back here, I've got her dragonfly. I actually have 2 for her. But, when my brother passed away, I didn't get a sign from my brother, really.
So what do you think about Ronnie with his dad appearing but never saying anything?
Yeah, I think that it could happen that he does have a message that he will eventually say. But I think right now, especially if Ronnie is not upset, when he dreams about him, and if he's just looking at him, not frustrated or anything like that, as he's looking at him, his dad is just wanting to know that everything's fine. And in time, maybe there'll be some more messages that come across. Maybe he's actually stepped into a room when he's talking to somebody just to kind of glance at him. When I see apparitions, I don't normally see them in front of me. I see them in reflection. So if you've got like your big screen, your flat screen off, it's very shiny. I usually see things in something shiny like that, or a mirror that I'm looking into. I might see somebody pass behind me and I turn to look and they're not there. I don't know. To me, that's my mind saying, okay, you're not ready to see one full on yet. The only one I've seen is at the old hospital. It was the little girl, and I caught her out of the corner of my eye, and as I looked, she sucked back in through the doorway and was gone. But I saw her for a second, and that's the only one I've actually seen. I've seen shadow figures and things like that, but
Yeah.
I would love to see my dad. I would love to see my dad, but I've just gotten pennies from him.
And I want to touch on something. You said something to Ronnie that kind of stuck out to me. You said if you're not going through anything or you're not really in an upset state, it might be, and this is my opinion, Ronnie, that your dad is just watching over you.
Yeah.
You may not need him right this second. You may be doing amazing in your life, and he's just letting you know, hey, I'm watching and I'm cheering from the bleachers type deal. And that's the vibe that I got off of that comment. Because when I was going through my toughest time in my life is when I really felt my mom, and then I don't really feel her anymore. I just get kind of signs here and there.
Or Ronnie might be struggling, and he just saying, "Hey, I'm here."
Yeah.
We don't know, but
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's deep either way. If you think about it, that's really deep. It's a deep conversation.
It really is. Like emotionally, I was getting chills a second ago when
really deep.
When you were speaking. Howie said, "This is exciting." My ex-wife and I said we would deliver a code if one of us passes on. It was the Knox from Doctor Who. Last year when she passed, I was here at work. When she passed, there was the doctor's heartbeat knocks on my desk area.
Wow.
That's cool.
Wow.
And it's crazy that you brought that up because you and I just had this conversation. We literally just said, if anything happens to one of us, we will make sure that we let you know we're here in some way, shape, or form.
My exact words were, I don't know how it works on the other side, but if I could find a way, I will make sure you know.
I told you I was training Wyatt to be my videographer.
Right.
So he had started going on investigations with us, and my co-founder Sean and I would be around the equipment. And when you're speaking to spirit, you're trying to be nice to them, not provoke, and ask them if they got a message, or is there anything you would like to say, or whatever. But we always told the spirit that, or Sean, I can hear him say in my head, say, get as close to that red dot as you can and speak as loud as you can for us. So Wyatt was listening to all this because he was learning all about the group and all the ins and outs of investigating and using all the equipment and whatever. So back in February 23, so that would have been almost a year that we lost him. We lost him in February 22. No, I'm sorry, April the 6th, 2022 is when we lost him. The next year, in February, my sister had gotten a visit from him, and he was showing up unbelievably to her. And funny, a couple of things happened to my mom, and I had to calm her down and let her know it's okay. It's Wyatt. It's Wyatt. So anyway, but Wyatt was popping in all the time with his mom. It was just the two of them. He, gosh, since he was 8 years old, it was just the two of them, and he was the only grandson in the family. So my mother, of course, that was her baby, and I don't have children. So I always thank Susan for having him for me. And then he started doing all this stuff with me and liking the same things I did. But so he was showing up to his mom, and in February 23, I was taping her, and I was getting her to tell me this story about his visit. And it was the weirdest, convoluted thing, I swear, that we found out that somehow there was some divine intervention that happened, and some things had gotten worked out. And once everything was done, it was like, holy, what? That is crazy. Is one of those kind of stories. And so she was telling me this story. I was recording it, and it took me 2 more months to go back through it, to listen to it so I could describe it. It was just too hard. So I'm sitting on the couch transcribing this story. 6 minutes and 42 seconds in, there are two little tiny notes, and then you hear, "Did you hear that?" And it's Wyatt. I I died. I about died. I thought, did I just hear that? And I backed it up and listened again, and I was crying. I went and got my husband. He was in the shower. I said, "You've got to come back out here. You've got to come out here. Just listen. Just listen." And I played it for him, and he went, "That's Wyatt." And I said, "Yeah, that was February 23rd of this year, 2 months ago."
Wow.
He said, "Wyatt was gone." I said, "I know." Wyatt got close enough. It's the loudest EVP, the clearest EVP. And whenever I play it for people, they're like, "He was really there." No, he was not. He checked in, yes, but he was in the
He was there. He was there
in spirit. Yes,
for sure. Wow.
yeah.
I got chills.
Yeah. It's a deep.
That's
a deep
awesome.
podcast tonight. Man.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I had somebody ask, and I was going to wait to the end to ask you, but what is the name of your book?
It's Not Goodbye, Signs from Beyond is that one. And
Okay.
so the one that I'm putting together now to come out probably in September-ish, something like that. So I'm still collecting stories. It's going to be Signs from Beyond 2, or I'm sorry, It's Not Goodbye 2, More Signs from Beyond. So if your listeners have stories and they want to reach out to me, I'm on Facebook, Centrator Hill Author, or you can message me on there. You can also email me, centratorhillauthor@gmail.com, and send me your stories. And
That's not your only book, right? How many books have you written?
I'm working on number 6 and 7 right now.
Okay.
The sequel will be number 6.
Awesome. Where can we find your books?
They're all on Amazon. So I'm
All right,
self-published.
perfect.
Yeah.
So before D Downs kills me,
Yeah, mom's going to get you on this one.
yeah, the story about the cat.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
She's gonna literally rip my head off. We don't get to the story.
Yeah, she wants to hear about how the cat came back.
Yeah.
Isn't
Yeah.
that a song?
It was
The
so
cat
cool.
came back.
It was so sweet. It was so sweet. Actually, I've had a ghost cat too. So, they come back, and dogs come back. I've got several
yeah.
stories in that
Oh,
first
yeah.
book. We've got dogs, cats, birds, just different things. But Joe, my friend in England, sent me this story about her grandfather. He had cancer, and he had adopted this cat, and nobody could get around this cat except him. So Joe went over to see him one day, and the cat came right up to her, and she pet him, and he looked, he said, "That cat doesn't like anybody but me." And she said, "Well, he likes me too now." And so a little bit later, her grandfather said, "When something happens to me, would you take care of my cat?" And she said, "Absolutely, I will." Absolutely. So fast forward, he died. And she takes the cat in. Unbelievably enough, the cat develops cancer soon after, and it's the same kind of cancer that her grandfather had. The
Hmm.
cat died, and he has come back, and the cat has honestly come back. And they see it out of the corner of their eyes. He will reach down to pet it, and there's no cat there. Her cats are in the other room, and the cat is just checking in. So he did like
Wow.
it.
That's cool.
Mm.
I again, you hit it. I do believe that animals come back too. When our dog passed away, you could hear his nails on the hardwood floor daily,
Mhm.
and nobody was there
Yeah,
because it took us a while to get our other dogs after Zeus passed away. But you could hear him walking around. You
I
know,
know.
I loved ones check. I like that they're checking in.
They
That's
are.
exactly it.
And some check in a lot more than others.
Yeah.
Some, like my dad, I it took me 5 years before I even had a dream about him. And I was daddy's girl. So that hurt that, I hadn't heard from him or had even a dream about him. My sister was having dreams about him, and he he would be dressed in his old army outfit and be in front of her and going around the corner, and she would try to be catching up with him and running, and he would look at her before he turned the corner and go around the corner. And then as soon as she got to that corner, he'd be rounding the next corner. She could never catch him. And he was always kind of laughing because he was always a funny guy. Just you would have a good joke with him and just always funny, always fun to be around. And the fact that he had a joke going in the dream that she was having is so much my dad, so much my dad. But I haven't gotten to dream about it much very after that. So we'll see.
Well, he visits you now, right?
Once in a while, not very often. The penny was the big thing. That
Yeah.
was a that was so so amazing to me. And I tell you, you were talking about being rescued in wrecks and stuff. I was doing home health, and I had just called a patient and said I'll be there in an hour, and got on the interstate and was heading north, and just a beautiful spring day, not a cloud in the sky, and then all of a sudden I had it on cruise control. All of a sudden the bottom dropped out, and being on cruise control in a little car, it just lifts you up and you have no control. So the only thing I could say was, "Help me, Lord, help me, Lord, help me,
Yep.
Lord." And I said that 1.5 million times until I went across to the opposite lane. I saw the southbound people. I turned, went by. I started next to an 18 wheeler, and I don't know how I didn't get sucked up in there. And praying is the only thing I can say. Prayer got me out of it. But I did a couple of 360s and ended up rolling backwards and stopped about 15 to 20 feet from a drop off. I swear somebody was in the car with me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody was in there.
Yeah.
And when I did finish, when I came to a complete stop, there was not a scratch on me. There was not a scratch on the car. Nobody stopped to help. Nobody stops to help anymore. But
They don't.
whatever. That's all. It's all good. I was fine. But as soon as I came to that complete stop, the only thing I could say was, "Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord." And I said that 1.5 million times. But the next thing I did was call my patient and said, "I'm going home today. I won't be coming to see you. I'm going home and I'm getting a hug from my mama."
Yeah. Ronnie said Jesus took the wheel that day.
Yes.
For sure. The power of prayer. A lot of people in the paranormal community, not in the paranormal community, but a lot of people outside of the paranormal community think that all we do is worship the devil and conjure demons. I will say that I pray daily. Whoever your God is, I'm sure that you pray every day, you worship whoever you worship. But almost every paranormal investigator that I've, met and had the opportunity to work with is absolutely a prayer warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
They really are. And it takes prayer. It really does. If you don't believe, then how can you honestly believe that you're communicating with the dead?
Right.
And that's just my own personal, opinion in that. They say in order to if you believe in God, you got to believe in the devil. It's the same concept. If you believe in life, you got to believe in death. Death is inevitable, so
But there's that other side of it. There's life after death. And
that's
we're
right.
finding out that, yeah, there is life after death. We're getting all kinds of signs, all kinds of messages, all kinds of things happening. And it's just incredible the things that you can learn too. And if you go to with other groups and stuff, you can learn different ways to go about asking questions or using different equipment and stuff. It's always really good to get out there and talk with different people. And
Oh, for sure.
Well, that's one reason why we have this podcast. We have it not only so other people can talk and get interviewed, but we have it also so we can learn things.
yeah,
I've learned a lot just from other teams and other interviewing people. I think it's great to communicate and put stuff out there on the table.
Yeah,
absolutely.
definitely.
Talking is definitely a great way to grow the field of what we do.
And Ronnie said, I spoke at a few Paracons, and the most asked question to him was, how do you believe in ghosts and be a Christian?
I think Ronnie, for people, I get asked that as well. I think, and I'll let Sin answer this question too. How can we believe in ghosts and be a Christian? Then how do you believe in the Bible? If somebody asks you that, like, how do you believe in the Bible? Then? Like, the whole Bible speaks about pretty much spirits and angels, and so like that's a kind of if somebody asked me that, I would just look at them like. Like my dog looks at me when I make a weird noise.
The head tilt.
I would say, how do you ask a question like that?
I mean, Jesus Christ
Yeah.
resurrected from the dead.
Who are we
So
praying to exactly? Like, I mean,
Yeah. And I missed a question earlier, and this is backtracking, but Ronnie had asked what hospital you saw the little girl apparition at, and I forgot to ask that. I'm sorry.
no worries. It is the old Lincoln County Hospital here in Fayetteville, Tennessee.
Awesome.
Um, actually, and I don't know how you guys feel about Ghost Adventures, but they came down and did an investigation at the old hospital. So you can actually find the episode. They came down with a script that had nothing to do with anything. And after the third person said, dude, all you got to do is go in there and investigate. It's haunted. About the third time he heard that, he was like, well, maybe we should just go in. You think? They did, and they actually did a pretty decent investigation of the old hospital. There's a part in the basement where they say that they see somebody. That's the only place in it that I'm going to throw a red flag because there are windows to the outside in that basement because it used to be a morgue. It used to be physical therapy, just different things. There was a classroom down there, all kinds of things. There were a couple of windows in the doors, and people are walking around that all the time. So if they knew, especially somebody was there famous, there's going to be a lot of people walking around that area. So that's the one thing I would take out of that, the evidence that they came up with. The one weird thing they did, and I thought, dude, you don't ask any kid that. He said he offered the little girl candy. You don't, when we're little, from the time we're little, we're told not to talk to strangers and do not take anything from them, especially candy. Don't take any candy from anybody. But that was one of the things that they said on can't remember which floor they were on, but otherwise, it was a pretty decent show.
I mean, my opinion of Ghost Adventures is a little bit, I don't think anybody in here cares, but I don't know. No, I think, now when I first started getting into watching the ghost shows, I was glued to Ghost Adventures. I thought everything they were doing was real. And then I was like, wait a minute, that didn't make sense. That didn't make sense. That didn't make sense. Why are you doing that? And so once I found myself questioning their episodes, I stopped watching it. And I popped over to Ghost Hunters. And then I found a show that I binge watched on the Travel Channel that was Haunted Cities in America.
Oh,
and so where we travel so much, like I think that's what brought us to Savannah.
Yeah.
And got us hooked on Savannah, because they have a whole episode in Georgia that they did. And I was just like, okay, this is more realistic. Like, he walks into the shop and he asks the shop owner what's going on or about the area. And they go on from there and they talk about experiences that they had and things like that. So Ronnie says this every time. He knows Zach Baggins personally. He's hung out with him a few times. Ronnie's being nice by saying he's a butthole.
Yeah, Ronnie's being nice tonight.
Yep.
So
Ronnie must have had a good day.
I think Zach suffers from that celebrity syndrome. When he got his ratings up and things like that, you can't tell him shit.
Right.
And that's cool. He can get over there. At the end of the day, we can sit here all day long and bash Ghost Adventures, but Ghost Adventures is still getting watched, and I think now it's getting watched for different reasons. Though I think now if we do tune in, I don't know if you still tune in. I've caught a couple episodes. I couldn't tell you where they're at now, but they did an investigation in my hometown in Mesa, Arizona. So I did watch that episode because I'm like, where did they go there? I literally went to school there, and like, I didn't think anything was haunted around that town, And so, of course, I had to tune in and see where they went. And they ended up going to a place I didn't think of when I was a teenager. But that's about it. Now we're watching them and we're critiquing. Ronnie said he's a marketing genius. 28 seasons can't be wrong. That's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, somebody's still watching him.
Well, the ghost shows, we all talk about how horrible they are because of what we've experienced and what we know is right is wrong. But I will say, to the credit of the ghost shows, because of them, we are thriving as a paranormal community because of how much they've opened up the non-believers, how much they opened up people who have once turned a blind eye to it are now looking at it now and saying, okay, this ain't so bad. Maybe there is something out there, because people like Zach are making believers out of people. So I will say that, yes, they're silly, but however, because of that, more people are opening up their properties to us. More people are open to listen to us when we come to them and say, hey, we'd like to investigate your place. So I will say that there is a place for them. It's kind of like wrestling, WWE. It's entertainment. So, people are watching it. And they know it's fake, but they still watch it. So I'd say we can leave the ghost people in their place, and we'll have our place.
The ghost people. I love it.
The ghost people, yeah. we'll let them have their place, We can make fun of them on podcasts like this.
And Carrie just touched on something. There's still so many locations, though, that still think that the paranormal is taboo.
Lynchburg, Virginia.
Yeah, where we're from, Lynchburg, Virginia. Oh, you better not talk about something being haunted around here. No, ma'am.
We have that place up on the mountain.
They've got Liberty University, and all we are is demon worshipers, and conjure every day. And
Oh yeah, Liberty, man. Woo. Meanwhile, they got pool boys and stuff like that.
Yes, ghost enthusiasts. I like that too. That's what we are, Ma. We're ghost enthusiasts. The people on the TV are the ghost people.
The ghost people.
The ghost people. That's awesome. So, Sin, do you have any upcoming investigations? Do you still, or are you real focused on your books or?
Both actually. So I'm still working on the books, but I'm also editing my friend who does the illustrations and the cover work for mine. And his next book, I've got to get his out first. It's my mean old grandma's good old cookbook. And so that one's coming out, and then I'll bring my second science book out.
Is that an actual cookbook?
What's that?
Is it going to be an actual cookbook?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I got to see this. You know, grandma's got the best recipes.
Oh man,
Especially if she's a mean old grandma.
And what it's going to be is going to be a lot of great recipes, and then a lot of there's no way in heck I would eat that.
Oh God,
So,
like what?
yeah, he's going to have like the good side and the bad side. And the bad side is going to have a skull and crossbones. If you are squeamish, do not open this page. You know, that kind of thing.
Ew.
And I'm telling you, there's some of the weirdest things I've ever seen in my life that I have typed. And I was like, there's people eat that? Ew.
I was just going to say, but these were actual recipes that were eaten.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I got a cookbook one time with a roadkill recipe, and that kind of creeped me out. It was like literally roadkill.
There's the recipes in his book. There's, I think he's got one from the 1700s, but majority start in the 1800s and then up to today. But his grandmother used a lot of 1800 and early 1900 recipes. So it's a lot of things that we don't really hear about anymore, like ammonia cookies.
Oh.
They actually use this cooking grade of ammonia to make things. And it's just some of the weirdest things ever. And then you get to a really good recipe. That's what he kills me on, because he'll send me a group of recipes to go over, and I'll be, this strawberry cake sounds wonderful. Oh, this lemon chiffon pie. Oh my gosh, that cookie sounds delicious. Ew, sheep stomach. Ugh.
I guess they had to do what they had to do though back in the day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They had to be resourceful.
No part of the animal goes wasted.
Yeah.
Ate everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I bet though, if you got some sheep stomach and threw it in that cake, it might be really good.
Listen, you'd be surprised at what's good. You know, we can't be weak as people. We cannot be weak as Americans.
I was given free will, and I am not willing to eat a sheep stomach.
What about pig brains?
No, can't do it.
Pig brains and eggs taste delicious.
I made them for you one time. I took one bite.
It was great.
No, it was not.
Oh my gosh. You're weak.
Just like chitlin. Oh, Ronnie says yes.
Ronnie, we're cut from a different cloth here.
Y'all two can go have your pig brains.
We can survive during the apocalypse. Okay.
I mean, if push came to shove and I had to eat it because it was the only thing left.
Country boy can survive.
Oh my God. What is this? Yeah. Michael Brooks said he's never eating brains and eggs again. Carrie said swamp rat soup.
Now we're going a little bit too damn far now.
Ronnie said that y'all two are going to survive. Lord, swamp rats.
Recipes about possums too. So
possums are good.
I saw one where they cut out the stomach of the possum and put stuff.
Possums are good.
Potatoes.
Don't sleep on possum. I'm trying to tell you. Don't sleep on them.
I think that's in the roadkill cookbook I found in the antique shop.
Don't sleep on the possum. They're good. Ew. I'm telling you. Mm-mm. It's all about the seasoning.
Yeah. It'd have to be a lot of seasoning for some of that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Ronnie said he's eating everything from the beak to the butthole.
I'm trying to tell Ronnie, are we related?
I can't maintain my maturity to that comment. You're lucky I'm blocked in right here because Ronnie, power to you. Okay.
Hey, we can survive. Okay.
All right.
When you hunt and when you live off the land, you don't waste the animal.
That animal's going to come back to talk to you in spirit form.
Let's investigate it. That deer's going to touch the rim pod, okay? I'm trying to tell you. It's going to hit it with its antler. Bam.
Oh, my God.
Just like that. I'm trying to tell you. Speaking of rim pods, when you investigate, is there any type of equipment you like to use besides, I already know you like your
recorder.
Yeah.
I already know. Every investigator uses a recorder. What else do you use?
That's my go-to, but I also like to have a spirit box.
I remember you saying at the beginning you love the spirit box. Anything else, or is that just those two?
I'm branching out just a little bit. I just got, and my husband has started going with me now to different investigations, and we've got one coming up on the 8th of June. We're going up to Hopkinsville, Kentucky, to a friend of ours, Eric, from Unseen Paranormal podcast. He has just bought a I can't remember 1800 and I can't remember the date of the house. The very old house, and it's called the Night House. If you want to look it up, they're fixing it up right now, and they're going to eventually offer it for groups to come in and investigate it. It's about 5,000 square feet, and
Oh, wow.
it's incredible. They had experiences from day one of buying the place and starting to fix it up. So we're excited about going up there, but I had just gotten some night vision goggles. So that's my new toy. And I let my husband use it when we went to Brushy Mountain last month. So he was glued to those night vision goggles. So that was fun.
Now, how would you use night vision goggles in an investigation? Like, obviously, beside the obvious reason, it's dark and you need to see.
Right. But this will also video and take pictures. So that's why I got it. So it's just a fun toy.
Are they infrared or are they night vision?
It's night. It's all.
Like I said,
yeah, it's all IR.
Oh, then you're in business then. Infrared is great.
Yeah, it's all IR. You can adjust the setting to depending on how dark it is, how much more light you need, and that kind of thing. So basically, I said, okay, find out how this works and tell me. And so he played with it all weekend, and he was like, "Ooh, look at it now! Oh, get a picture." So it's fun. It's fun.
See, that's why we keep our husbands around, to play with the equipment and figure out how it works.
Exactly.
And then let us know, and then we'll just work it.
Yeah, infrared's great.
Is one of the little FLIR camera that will record. I've got a FLIR attachment for my phone, but it's not as good as I think those are, but they're more expensive. So
I heard the attachments for the phone are a little bit iffy.
Yeah. It's okay. It worked with my last phone better than it works with my current phone. So you never know, and how long is the phone going to last anyways? If you pay for it 1 year, it's supposed to last for 2. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, I don't know why it's the same. Should be the same attachment that goes into the phone. It's one of the C. One of the C. In
the C. A USB-C at that. Yeah.
Yes. So you would think that's what attaches into the phone, that USB-C, and it doesn't fit this phone like it did the old one. So I don't use it as much. It's just too much of a problem.
I've got one, and I've caught maybe a little bit of evidence with it. I don't pull it out as much as I used to. I did catch something cool with it one time. The only really, really cool thing I caught with it was a squirrel sleeping in the wall.
Oh, wow.
And I tried to And I tried to wake it up and scare Courtney with it.
Yeah, they kept telling me it was going to hop out and get me.
I mean, some people caught some great. I caught, something cool with it before. I don't use it as much. I spent way too much money on it. I wish I hadn't have gotten it. Some people love them. I just haven't caught. Maybe I'm not using it properly. I don't know. I see a lot of people catching great things with it. Like I said, I did catch one thing with it that was interesting. Other than that, every time I pull it out, I end up playing with it more than I do anything else because I don't really see anything with it that much.
I haven't caught anything either.
So maybe I'm just using it wrong. Right? I'm using it in the wrong location. I don't know. They're cool. I guess
It would be, if with all the things that we did buy for our equipment, it'd be great if they all worked all the time.
Yes.
And it's just like when you're watching one of the TV shows, oh man, they get all of their evidence, everything in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, that's what a lot of people, when they ask you to come to their homes, that's what they're expecting.
Yeah.
To us to set up, do a show for them, and then tell them at the end of 45 minutes what you've got. This is what you have. It doesn't work like that. It just doesn't.
Oh yeah.
I wish it did.
See, and we put a disclaimer out for our public investigations that we host here. We put a disclaimer out that we cannot guarantee any ghost sightings. Like, this is not, you can't. You can tell me a location is haunted all day long, but my energy may be off that night. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they don't like the fact I have long, dark hair. Maybe they don't like me, period. So who knows?
Maybe they could be having a night too.
Right. Because we've been into some of the most haunted locations and gotten nothing.
Right.
And we've done overnights and I've been asleep by 2 a.m. because there's just nothing going on. And when I wake up, I'm like, did y'all get anything while I was asleep? Nope. Might just be a slow night. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the best thing that I've heard is there's no clock or no watch on a ghost wrist. They're not like, oh, Courtney's here, I gotta go and spook her or whatever. So you got to put that disclaimer out there because unfortunately a lot of people do think it is just like that, just like the TV show. Mm-hmm. All this stuff's gonna happen. All the lights are gonna light up, everything's gonna go off.
And it'd be great if we did. It'd be great. But not going to happen like that.
Exactly. And, being a paranormal investigator too, we've become debunkers. So we spend more time. I don't know how EVP, operates, but we spend a majority of our time trying to debunk what just happened. So, if the REM pod went off, is everybody in airplane mode? Are we near a highway? Was it an intelligent response or did it just go off by itself? You never know. Or if a cat ball goes off, is it sitting on something? Is there a vibration? Was somebody walking around? All the way down to an EVP. We had to call our whole team one night because we heard what sounded like a child's voice. But
we goof around so much that we had to call our whole team, send out the clip and say, hey, is this anybody?
Right.
Right. And so unless it's like a clear EVP, like you've got to do that. And you spend so much time debunking that it actually does take away some of your investigative time. Ronnie said, activity isn't on your clock. You are correct about that. It's not, And what if the ghosts travel like we do? What if on June 8th you go to your location and that just so happens that the spirit that resides at the location that you're going to, that's their vacation time and they're at the beach.
Yeah, see? You never know. You never know.
Or that's the time they go to visit their mom.
That's what I'm saying.
Or
just like we do in our everyday life. If we take a vacation every year on June 8th, okay, and then we pass away, Like, I may not be here on June 8th. I may be at my vacay spot.
Right.
You know? I wholeheartedly, that's where I'm going to be.
That's a good topic of conversation, though. Like, people say entities can be at different places. You know, what if they're not at their house that they haunt on a regular basis on a certain day?
You can find me on the beach with a margarita.
Hey,
Just go out there and offer me a margarita.
I'm not a beach guy, so you'll never find me haunting a beach.
You will find me. Just put the REM pod in the sand. I'll come over and beep it a couple times.
I'm scared to get in the water. I get stung by jellyfish.
Sean thinks there's jellyfish in every body of water.
I didn't get stung at the last time I was in the water.
There was a spot on your foot. That's all I'm going to say. I did not physically see the jellyfish.
And you tried to pee on me.
I told you I would pee on you.
Yeah, that's what happened.
I heard if you pee on a jellyfish sting, it's supposed to make it better. Yeah, I may or may not have had too many pina coladas. Or was it White Russians? I think I was doing White Russians that night.
Ronnie had a good question.
Yes. Do spirits travel on a regular basis? I mean, I don't know.
Somebody told me they do at one time.
I feel like I brought this up in previous podcasts.
But how do they travel?
I will always use the Abe Lincoln example when I talk about spirits traveling. They say that Abe Lincoln haunts the White House, and they say that he haunts the Ford Theater.
Some say he haunts his home in Illinois.
And some say he haunts his childhood home. So...
Is it Illinois? Is that where it's at?
I don't know. I just know it's his childhood home.
I think it's Illinois.
So if that's the case, then the answer would be yes, I believe spirits travel. I mean,
but
I think that
they can do so much that we don't understand. Like, you might get an EVP, and when you flip it around, you've got a completely different message. They can talk forwards and backwards at the same time. How is that possible?
So you just answered a question that I had. Remember that EVP we caught at Rainworth? And it's like, we couldn't figure out what it was. There you go.
Maybe it's talking backwards. Maybe we should play it backwards.
Yeah, it could be. I tell you, I've noticed that what we normally hear on a spirit box, especially if it's a location that is a little darker, not demonic. That's not what I'm talking about. I haven't run into any demons. None.
Neither have we.
Yeah, I don't want to, but I just haven't yet. But I found that there might be an extra syllable or something in the EVP. And I was like, why is it going So I flipped it around and I would find a complete sentence. And usually the ones that I would find in reverse were a little bit more ominous, almost like they were talking to each other about us. So that was kind of weird.
We heard full-on arguments on the spirit box.
Yeah.
And like, I had somebody approach me with a spirit box and they said, that's just a radio. And I said, you're right. It is just a radio, but you're not going to hear the F word on AM FM radio. You're not going to hear harlot. You're not going to hear what'd you get called? The B word.
Oh yeah, I get called
You're
B
not
word all
going
the
to
time.
hear the N word. I get called that in every investigation I go to.
Almost everyone.
Just about everyone. You're not going to hear. So like, show me what radio station you hear on regular FM, AM radio that you're going to hear that. When it's scanning backwards.
Yeah.
So if you show me that, then we can have the same conversation.
Yeah,
Then usually that person's like, oh yeah, well, okay. It's people who know nothing about the paranormal equipment. They like, they have all these answers, and then, oh yeah, okay. So I love a spirit box. I used to not like them. Courtney didn't like them until she decided, wait a minute, I'm going to sit here and play with this thing. Now, can't get her to leave alone.
My co-founder hates them.
I hated it too. I really did. I could not stand it. It was the that noise for me that drove me absolutely up the wall. Like I could have launched this thing into the wall. I did not care about it. And then again, it goes back to me saying that the more I investigate and the more I get in tune with myself, because that's a big one. You've got to be in tune with yourself. If you can ground yourself and really take yourself like out of the investigation and just put yourself like with that. I love an Estes method. Love it because I can really truly focus solely on what I'm listening to and hearing. But you couldn't have paid me to use a spirit box a year ago.
Well, I've actually talked Sean into more spirit box sessions because I'm doing the Estes method, so he doesn't have to listen to it. In the other room asking questions that I can't hear, and I'm just telling whatever's coming across on the spirit box. He loves it now because he doesn't have to listen to it.
Yeah. So Ronnie said, how do you reverse your playback on your EVPs? Do you use a certain kind of software?
Yeah, I use Audacity. It's a free download. That's my favorite. I know there's others out there, but it's just one that I've gotten used to. And
so is that Audacity, like you have the audacity?
yes.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure I'm spelling it correctly.
I've heard of that.
I love it. I love it. And I tell you, my third book was supposed to be my first one. I just couldn't figure out how to do it. But They're Speaking, Are You Listening? And it's my most compelling EVPs to date. And what I did was put our investigations that I got so many EVPs into the chapters. And then you can go to elkvalleyparanormal.com, pull down the evidence menu to their speaking, and actually listen to all the EVPs in that book.
Oh, cool.
So, and I've got some reverse ones in there too.
I like listening to EVPs. That'll give me something to do.
I used to hate investigators who catch EVPs. I can never catch them at all. And I used to just be like, every time an investigator told me they caught one, I'm just like, But
you probably have more than you think.
But here's what I finally started getting them when I started wearing a body cam. When I wore on my body cam, that's when I started getting them. The best, the clearest one we got was at Rainworth when we got that weird voice that I'm going to run through Audacity, thanks to you, and try to unscramble it. But the coolest one was when we were doing a restaurant, and Courtney walks into the room all loud and goes, "Marco," and then like she said, "That'd be cool if it went polo." And I'd be like, "Yeah, that was cool." So when we went back to it, I was watching the evidence video. You hear a voice go, "Polo,"
right behind me,
right behind her. None of us said it. It wasn't even in any of our voices. It was like a young girl's voice. But you heard it did it twice. It went polo, polo. Like, and I was like, "Oh crap, Courtney, did you hear that?" But clear as day, it went polo, and then you hear Courtney say, "It'd be really cool if somebody went polo." But that got caught on my body cam. Like every EVP that I've caught so far has been on my body cam. I cannot catch one on a handheld.
I just find that like if you're just goofing off and like not really actually interrogating, so to speak, you get your most compelling evidence that way.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm a big goofball anyway. Like, if you ever investigate with me, you'll just be like, "This chick is crazy." Like, don't take me to an asylum because they'll probably think I should be a patient with them.
Yeah. Warning to anybody who investigates with Hill City Paranormal: we are really goofy and inappropriate later in the night, and that's when we've caught our best EVPs. When we're just being silly, not trying to investigate. Nothing's happening. We just like to be out. We were having a very inappropriate conversation. It was very inappropriate. And that's when our clearest EVP came through. And
you're going to run Ronnie off. I'm trying to put together something with Ronnie, and you're going to run him off.
Ronnie, go ahead. Answer Ronnie's question.
No, there's no question. You're gonna run him off. I'm trying to put together a dual investigation with his team. Now he's gonna be like, "Oh God."
I will contain myself when we investigate with Ronnie. If we ever investigate with Bedford Paranormal,
I have a feeling you and Ronnie are going to feed off each other.
I'm waiting on Ronnie to bring his guitar over. He said he was coming to play with us.
Well, Sin, what is, before we wrap this up, I know that he said you can't run me off. Okay, I feel better. Oh, really quick, Ronnie wanted to know if you knew a Miranda Young being from Tennessee.
Yes, that's the ghost biker.
Okay. Ronnie, she knows the ghost biker. I don't know why.
Ghost
Carrie
biker.
said you behave.
Carrie, you know me better than that.
While we're waiting on Ronnie to find out like why he was asking about Miranda Young, he said she's a good friend of his.
She also actually has a story in the signs book. Her father came back visiting her, so her
I
signs
love it.
feathers, and she gets feathers at the weirdest places.
I can't wait to read this book.
I know, but I wanted to ask you what your bestseller was. Is it the Realm of Shadows one? Is that your bestseller?
It's the signs book.
Really?
We have your books pulled up.
Yeah,
right
I've got
here.
Amazon.
We're about to
Look,
order these books.
My postman hates me, Sin. Hates me. I get an Amazon delivery every day, so you're just giving me an excuse to get on Amazon. So I'm gonna order it tonight. But if anybody else wants to order the book, just go to Amazon, type in Sin Schrader Hill. All of her books come up. I just looked, very affordable. That was the first thing that I look at. A lot of the time when I hear, I interview authors and stuff like that, I look at their books and I'm like, $35.99 for a book? That's craziness. Like, especially, I'm a paperback person. I've never liked a hardback book. So it would make sense if it was like a hardback book and stuff like that. But very affordable. I've already seen 2 that have piqued my interest, so I may be placing a bulk order. We will see.
You were talking about Mesa, Arizona.
Yeah.
I actually lived on the Chandler Air Force Base for a while.
Okay.
And I have a story in the very first book, Whispers in the Dark. It's called Drop Zone. So that's from Arizona.
Oh, I'll have to go definitely get that book then, because I've got 3 out of 4 of my children were born in Chandler.
Nice.
At the hospital. So yes, I was not far. I went to high school. I went to Westwood High School in Mesa, Arizona. So
I loved Arizona. I loved it.
It's hot.
Also, too, if you have Kindle Unlimited, they're free.
Ooh.
So any of your Kindle Unlimited, they're free.
I'd rather pay to support the artist.
Yeah. We support local. And if I ever get a chance to meet up with you, I'm going to get you to sign the book.
Absolutely. I'll be in Hopkinsville for that on the 8th. In July, I'm going to meet up with the Legit Paranormal people, Legit podcast that I'm on, and we're going to be at the Gettysburg Bash, and I'm going to be selling books. So if you're
July what?
How far away is Gettysburg from you?
Gettysburg's only 4 hours. We'll be in Gettysburg actually, because outside of this, for those that know us personally, we do reenactments. So, but I don't think that we'll be at the Gettysburg Bash, because I think it's during the time that we're going to be down in Charleston, South Carolina. But
we're in Gettysburg a lot. That's like our second home.
When is the Bash?
The Bash is the 25th of July, 26th. It's 26th, 27th, and 28th of July.
We may show up because we're going to be gone in Charleston the 9th through the something. We'll be back. That would be awesome. Well, Sin, before we wrap it up, do you have any advice that you would give to, say, a person who wants to become? Yes, Ronnie. Yes, we are. Any advice to a person who wants to become a paranormal investigator?
Yeah. Read everything you can about paranormal investigating. You can watch the shows on TV, but just know that 45 minutes took probably 4 or 5 days to put together. And it's jam-packed with all of the highlights. when we come in to investigate, mostly we're sitting in the dark asking questions.
Right.
And, you know, a lot of people think that's boring. We're having a good time trying to get some evidence. But that's what a lot don't understand, that not a lot happens all the time. And you were talking about sometimes the nights are just you're not going to get anything. Also, about the cam that you can voice on, you know, those spirits can pick what they want to go into. So you can have like 3 recorders sitting side by side, and they pick one recorder to go into and leave an EVP. So spirits are just so interesting, and we're always learning about them. So for someone wanting to get into it, try to go with a group and see how they investigate. Go on a public investigation at some of the bigger places. Those are always fun, and you learn some history as well. But try to go with a few different groups and see as much as you can how they investigate, how they ask the questions, what equipment they're using. You know, do they use a questionnaire before they go into a client's home to fill out stuff? There's just so much. There's so much to learn, and we're all still learning. And I like talking to like you guys and anybody, because you're always learning something else.
Yeah.
It just sparks, you know, the creativity process, and you're getting to learn more and more and more. And I love it. I love it. So I appreciate you guys letting me come on tonight.
I appreciate you taking time out of your night to join us. The first 45 minutes of this conversation was just so it just reached out and touched me. Like,
Definitely a different podcast.
I think now I'm going to take some more time, and this is my advice to everybody: take some more time to get in tune and pay attention to the signs, because they're all around us all the time. But with the hustle and bustle of our daily life, we walk right by a lot of them.
Yeah.
You know, that old saying, stop and smell the roses. That's it. Now's a better time than any to stop and smell the roses. It really is. Everybody's got such a busy life, busy schedule. Every time I try to get up with other paranormal investigators, they're like, oh, I'm booked here. And I'm like, damn it, I'm going to find you somewhere. I will find you. So you may see us at Gettysburg Bash. We may pop in. And I'm going to go ahead tonight, and I'm going to order the book about signs, because I really do want to read these stories. So do you have anything else?
Man, I'm still blown away by the stories.
We're going to read them.
Yeah.
We're going to have story time in the Elliott household.
The haunted Elliott household.
Yes, the haunted Elliott household. We have a spirit that lives with us, but we coexist. So he is fully aware that he needs to keep it down, especially when I'm trying to nap, and he likes to stomp around. But I think it's cool, because this is his home. You know, who we bought it, yeah, but who are we to kick you out of it? Yes, Howie, you want to come and get pajamas on, and we can have story time. We'll have a pajama story night. Anyways, Sin, again, thank you. I'm going to let you go. I know you want to take a shower, unless you have another class.
Done for the evening.
Done for the evening. Go ahead and stay on. Everybody that tuned in, thank you so much. I'm Courtney.
I'm Sean.
We're Hill City Paranormal. If anybody has any stories about signs from life, I guess life after death, or any loved ones that passed away, please email those stories to Sin Schrader Hill Author, all one word, at gmail.com. If you want to hear the EVPs, elkvalleyparanormal.com. Which I'm going to definitely take time out of my night and listen to some of them.
Absolutely.
Because I think EVPs are cool. So thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next Tuesday, 8 p.m.